When I was about 14 and a half, my father bought a car for my sister and myself to share. It was a £100 car. I paid my £50 share and she never paid hers, so I finished up owning the car. It was a 1935 Austin 7, and that gave me an interest right from the word go in cars, and specifically that particular make and model. Basically since then, right throughout, I've just about always had an Austin 7. Dad always had good cars, and we always seemed to have two cars, one of which was the standard car that he used every day, and then we had the what we called the beach car that came out normally on Sundays to go for a drive somewhere. The Austin 7 that I've got at the moment is quite a rare car. It's the only one of its type in the country. It's an Austin 7 1937 four-seat tourer, which is a convertible car where the hood comes down. It was a car that has a history. It was brought into New Zealand in 1939 to take place in the Great Wellington exhibition of 1940. So when it came to New Zealand, it was purported to be the latest model, which in actual fact was not true, but because in New Zealand at the time, the correspondence was so slow that nobody really knew what was going on over in England, so it was just deemed to be the latest thing. So that was shown at the Great Wellington exhibition of 1940. 1939, 1940, and it was sold from there and was taken to Timaru, and it spent virtually all its life in Timaru until I bought it in about 1979. The car was in very poor condition. It had been sitting for many, many years in a barn. After I purchased it, I actually saw in the Austin magazine in 1964, they had a photograph of the car, and the question underneath was, where is it now? And of course, later on, I actually found out where it was. It was sitting in this barn, completely derelict. And that's the way that I bought it. And I brought it home and proceeded to strip it down. And it was probably roughly about a 2-year restoration with other things that were going on at the same time. So it took about 2 years to restore it. It's the thrill of driving them. They're a lot more difficult to drive. The strong arm steering, there's no power steering, there's no heater. It's back to basics. Today, when you want to turn to the right, you put your hand out the window and nobody else knows what it means. But it's certainly a thrill to drive an old car. One of the things that we do notice is that when you're actually driving, everybody waves at you. And I think that probably in an older generation, everybody seems to have owned an Austin 7 at some stage. And of course, it brings back memories to everybody. So from that point of view, it's great. You park somewhere, and within moments, somebody comes up and starts talking to you about it. That I used to have one of these, and tells you all about what about the one that they actually owned. So it's a lot of fun to drive, a lot of fun to have. So I don't know.